everybody, it's Stewart Swerdlow for Expansions.com, and Janet is not with me today because she was away visiting some people, but she should be landing at any moment and you will see her next time. Today's podcast, I'm going to have some brief news, and then I'm going to go over the many podcast questions you finally sent in, and I'm going to do that all today because next week, as you may know, is our radionics seminar, and I'm not sure exactly how the podcast will go. We'll have one somewhere, but I may not be able to do any questions next week, so I'm going to do them all today. So one of the interesting things on the news is that according to CNN, archaeologists have found the gates to Goliath's home. And they said it was a monumental fortification belonging to the biblical city of the Philistine Gath. Now, they said it's the largest ever found in Israel. It has formidable fortified walls. And they said that this was the biblical city where the giant Goliath lived and was the most powerful in the Philistine Empire. And I believe somewhere in my work I have stated that the Philistines were actually the descendants of the Atlanteans. And every week on the news, and sometimes several times per week, they have a story related to Bible events, and that is bringing it to life for you in the modern times as an imprinting for New World religion, and to get you aware, especially with this story, that giants did live on and in the earth, and so I would imagine that would mean we'll be seeing some of them pretty soon. I also, on the podcast, hopefully you'll be able to see the video of the Virgin Atlantic plane that took off at JFK on July 7th, and was videoed with a UFO flying above it. And you can see on the video, the UFO appears to fly above and past the Virgin Atlantic plane. And according to the news, which is a conventional news, this led to speculation that it may be an extraterrestrial craft. And if you look at the video, it does look quite odd, even though there are some commentators who said it was something else, but you decide for yourself. Now, speaking of aliens, the Vatican said that alien life does exist elsewhere, but Jesus did not visit them because he was unique to the earth. The Vatican says it has relaxed its view of mankind's place in the cosmos and believes there may be intelligent alien life out there. Now, it also said discoveries of new Earth-like planets have strengthened their belief that there could be life on other planets, and it is not a contradiction to the Christian faith, which it had been for many centuries. Now, according to L'Osservatore Romano, there was a statement that said, and I quote, "The discovery of the new planet Kepler 452b revives the idea that contact, and why not the encounter with extraterrestrial intelligent beings of an alien civilization could happen in the near future." And that's the Vatican saying it will happen in the near future. And those of you who perhaps viewed my Alien Agenda seminar videos know that the Vatican is planning to stage a second coming of Christ with possibly a reptilian Christ. So we'll see how that works. And it is setting the stage for the alien invasion for religious purposes. And speaking of reptilians, just recently, the lizard man from South Carolina, who's been around for many decades, was photographed. Now, he was originally seen in the 1970s and recently attacked a car and left claw marks. And in this picture that you hopefully will see on the podcast, this lizard man is depicted stalking the wood line outside of Bishopville, South Carolina, near a church. Now, some people say it looks like a guy in a lizard suit. However, the woman who took the picture, and I quote, she said, "My hand to God, I am not making this up," she said, the woman who took the photo, and that she took the photo while leaving church. And now, the first sighting of Lizard Man came in 1988 when this news station said a 17-year-old boy at 2 a.m. in the morning returning home had scratches on the roof of his car and a damaged mirror. And Lizard Man resurfaced in 2008, tearing up the hood of a minivan, according to CNN. Now, the sheriff of the town said, "You think it's a joke, but you look at the damage to the vehicle, and it's hard to say." So that's the sheriff actually agreeing that it could be a reptilian something or other attacking these vehicles. Again, preparation for announcement of reptilian presence. Now, just a little bit of tidbit of information. North Korea has decided to create its own time zone by turning their clocks back 30 minutes so that they will no longer be on the same time zone as Japan. And they said that this will remove Japanese imperialism. However, in my conference this October in Hidden Mysteries and Histories, I'm going to explain about North Korea and Japanese on the connection there, which the Japanese people know about, but it's not news or written about outside of Japan or Korea, so I will be telling you that in October. Now, you also know recently the so-called debris from Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 was found on the island of Reunion Island in the Indian Ocean, east of Madagascar, and now they're saying, as of this morning, that they actually have found debris in the Maldives, and that the islanders in the Maldive Islands said that on that day they saw a plane flying low over their island, which was a huge plane. So if all these things happened, why wasn't it reported then? Why didn't people search for those areas then? It all seems to me quite staged, and it's all very sudden. And where are the passengers? What, you know, when you look at the debris that they're picking up and showing you, it looks very clean. It doesn't look like it was burned. It doesn't look like it was bent or damaged in any way. It looks like someone chopped up a plane and dumped the pieces by the beach and left it in the water. It doesn't look like remnants of a plane crash to me. So, and what's also interesting is that the families of the passengers do not believe the story because they said the wreckage looks too fresh. So more on that as it develops. Another big story in the news is Donald Trump, of course, with all his comments about women and Mexicans and all of that. He's actually gaining in the polls. So to me, it's a bit of a setup as well. And he said even if he doesn't get the nomination for the party, he will run as an independent. And of course, that may draw votes away from the Republicans and the Democrats. So it seems like some kind of sabotage within the Illuminati. And I would be curious to know what your opinions are on this. And would you vote for Trump as president? Or how do you think he would be as president? Now, I want to get to many of the questions you sent in, because you did send in a lot after I complained to you last time about it. And so I'm just going to go over them and answer succinctly. Marcus Lehet from Sweden, and he said it's okay to mention his name and where he's from, writes in that the history of countless empires rising and falling, Greece, Rome, Alexander, Macedonia, the Nazis, and of course the United States, they've all failed and in the past, and in the U.S. is destined to do so as well. So the question is, will the failure of the United States be domestic? Will it be an invasion? And what event do you think could trigger this? Well, Marcus, first of all, I think the U.S. already has failed. And as I have mentioned about many times before, I have told you that in 2016, it is very likely that a U.S. civil war will begin and start in South Carolina. And we have seen the beginnings of this recently with the shootings in South Carolina, several shootings in South Carolina, and one of which rioting occurred in front of a South Carolina courthouse. So keep your eyes on the South or the southern United States. I also think it could be triggered by a huge volcanic eruption at Yellowstone, which just yesterday they said that there were huge magma chambers underneath Yellowstone that they didn't know were there and were becoming quite active. So let's keep our eyes on natural disasters, financial collapse, and civil war, and perhaps all the above. So we'll see how that goes. Next person writes in, and I don't know where this person is from, and I don't have permission to give his name, but he writes several questions. And so first one is, what are the dangers, if any, when two or more developing psychics engage in a shared or an agreed upon intent during meditation or a ritual or ceremony using the philosophy of color, tone, and archetype? Well, first of all, color, tone, and archetype are not a philosophy. They are a science or a pseudoscience. And the answer to your question is, it depends on the intent. If it's a negative intent, the energy will become dense and go back on the ones who are doing it. So I don't recommend doing such work. Next question. What combination of color, tone, and archetype can a psychic use to shroud or conceal an energy work from the opposition's technological, psychic, or energetic probes that are constantly policing the surface of the planet? Well, to this person, if you read my work, I have told you, if you use the color black, and that's what they have done in PsyOps and in Montauk Project, etc., if you cover the energy in black, it hides whatever you're doing. This is already in my work. There's no archetype or tone involved with it. Next question, it's an interesting thing. Can you provide your viewers a safe and reliable method to allow psychic intention to change molecular structure of food or beverages so that anything consumed will be beneficial and helpful? This is also in my work already, so this person needs to look at my work. I've discussed this many times. If you mentally tell the food and drink, the molecules, where to go in the body and what it should do while you're eating it, just before you eat it, and you flush it with violet, that will go to the locations where you send it. Next person from Arizona, I don't have permission for the name, says, since teeth represent how one adjusts to life, was the recent event of the dentist killing Cecil the lion meant to trigger people to feel that their attempts to adjust to life will kill their lion frequency? No, that's not what it was about. It was simply a ritual to block lion frequency in general, and also a symbol that the king, the lion's king of the jungle, or Christ, the representation, is dead. And so basically to remove the old religion to get in place for the new religion. Next person writes, again, no permission for name and no location, so I don't know where this person is from. This person writes, as far as I know, biodynamic farming, through the teachings of Rudolf Steiner, recommends only using cow manure to build up the soil. Steiner says something to the effect that using other animals' manure will give the plants a different kind of consciousness, if I understand him correctly. He also says that human manure should not be used. So I guess my question is about plants' consciousness and how different types of manure affect it. Well, that's a crappy question, person. But let me tell you something right now. I cannot give a dissertation on all the kinds of manure and how they're going to affect the different kinds of plants. First, you should know, Rudolf Steiner worked for the Illuminati. He was not love, light, and peace, and I don't trust his work. Manure is a waste product, and I feel it should not be placed on plants anyway. And plants are nurtured by decomposing leaves and other vegetable matter from other organic sources. So I hope you understand that. Next person writes, and this person is from Maine. Hello, Maine. I happened to see the moon and the sun coming up in the sky at the same time. Although the sun was well up, the moon had a shadow. What could cause that? Do you believe in flat earth theory at all? Also, it would be fun to have a health note each week, such as enzymes and the color purple for the heart. What do you think? Well, person from Maine, the sun and the moon were not coming up at the same time. One was going down and the other one was coming up, and I don't know what kind of time of day you saw that, but they just happened to be passing in, two ships passing in the night. So it was not anything really unusual. Sometimes that happens. I've already mentioned umpteen times there is no flat earth. People with flat brains believe that. It's a false theory. And as far as the heart is concerned, we don't use the color purple. It's medium green for the heart chakra. Purple is color used for blood and for deep space, etc. So please, please, people, read my work and look at that when you are ready to ask your questions. Now this next person, I don't know, wrote several paragraphs of criticism before he wrote his question. So I'm not going to go over the criticism because that's something for customer support. The question he has is, there's a show on cable called Mr. Robot. I never heard of it. It features people who are known to the public as hacktivists. Cute name. These people will go and hack corporations and government websites on the pretext that they're doing so to achieve justice. Well, two wrongs don't make a right. So what the question, after a long paragraph, the question finally is, do you think that those people are going to be used to bring in harsh new controls of the internet in the future in the name of cybersecurity? Well, there's already controls. There's already cybersecurity. If they don't like a website or the information, they take it down, period. That's already happened. They want people on the internet so they can control them and their knowledge. Hackers mostly work for the governments and for software companies or private interest groups, so that they serve a purpose to make people want to buy virus software, etc. The internet is used to monitor people. There'll be more internet, not less, as time goes on. Now, this next couple, actually, and hello to them. They didn't give me permission or where they're from, but they're a very nice couple. And I have to explain this because they wrote, what is your take on the simulation argument? Now, I don't know if you people know what the simulation argument is, so I'm going to tell you what it's about. There are 3 parts to it. The simulation argument is, 1, the human species is very likely to go extinct before reaching a post-human stage. So my answer to that is no, that's not going to happen. 2, any post-human civilization is extremely unlikely to run a significant number of simulations of their evolutionary history. That's very complicated and confusing, or variations thereof. So, first of all, post-human means after humanity, so there's not going to be any similar events because the post-humans are not human, are they? And by the way, evolution is an illusion. All is simultaneous, so the statement is illogical, my opinion. 3, we are almost certainly living in a computer simulation. It follows that the belief that there is no significant chance we will one day become post-humans who run ancestor simulations. This is getting kind of, I don't know who came up with this, but they must have been maybe a little bit too many beers, vodkas, whatever. So this is not a simulation. It's a hologram. Read my work. It's a projection from the God mind into humanity, and humanity projects that their own work out. And so it's a projection from God mind to humanity to our universe that is not a computer simulation. However, there is the programming matrix in the mind, which can be kind of like a computer simulation, but that's within the programming matrix. It's not the universe. So keep that in mind, people. Those are my thoughts. Simulation argument is based on a lack of knowledge of how the universe works and how it was created. Now, before I go, I just want to give you a reminder that this coming week, probably by the time you see this, it will be in progress, my webinar on Montauk and interdimensional activities. Next weekend, August 14, 15, 16, something like that, is the radionics seminar. If you really, really hurry up, you might be able to get in, but you probably won't get a radionics spots in time. And of course, go on my website and look up the dates for my seminars in Europe and the Middle East coming up in August, the end of this month, August and September. And I will be in London, Kopacz, Poland, Trier, Germany, Istanbul, Amman. And also, I will be back for the October conference, Hidden Mysteries and Histories, which will be quite fascinating. And I will be teaching the clear energy work. So if you want to learn it, now's your time to come and see that. And then just 2 days later, I leave again for Poland and Germany, Singapore and Indonesia. So sign up, people, get in while you can, and I will somehow, Janet and I, be seeing you next week. So have a good time, and I'll see you next time. Bye.